Yusuke, thank you for waiting.
Harold.
Welcome to Oregon. Welcome to Oregon.
How about Oregon?
How about Oregon? Let me share my screen. First of all,
Mm,
what? I'm not yet. It's not a moment yet. First of all, the daylight hours, we're about level with Wakanai. And so we have 2 more hours of daylight.
mm,
Yeah, you can see how short the nights are and how
yes.
long the days are. Yeah.
Mm,
Now this is late summer.
mm,
In early summer, it's even longer.
mm,
Early summers, the days are
yeah.
really long.
Mm,
This is late summer, so I think Osaka is almost 50-50 now.
mm,
Yeah. And let's see. Let me when I'll share my screen,
yes.
um, I'll show you the weather. Oops, wrong button. Weather. Yeah. It's a little cooler today.
Mm,
The weather, I think yesterday or 2 days ago was 34 or
oh,
35. It was pretty warm.
mm,
And let's see, can we get, yeah. Oh, yeah, today it was, well, maybe 32, 33 as the
mm,
high today.
mm,
But the lows are like 15, 13,
13.
12 or 13 at the low.
Mm,
And the humidity, it's 90% at 6 a.m.
mm,
and 20% in the afternoon.
mm,
Very extreme changes in humidity.
yes.
Yeah. The big problem is that the air quality. Now, we are getting wind. In fact, I can show you the wind. We're getting wind coming from the ocean.
Mm,
So the wind coming from the ocean is cleaning the air very well because for the past 2 or 3 days, all of
mm,
these forest fires, can you see the
mm,
forest fires?
yes.
The air quality over our location was orange.
Mm,
It was really bad.
yeah.
So we're getting this coastal breeze that's really making life better because for the
Mm,
past 2 or 3 days, the air quality has been very, very bad.
mm,
Yeah. And there are lots of, look at all these forest fires. I mean, all the way from Canada to California.
yes.
Yeah. Forest fires. Very, very dry season. Notice
Mm,
sun, 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 sun. No rain.
mm,
No rain. Next week will be cool though, or week
mm,
after next will be cool.
yeah.
Yeah. This is late summer
Mm.
in Oregon.
It looks comfortable.
Well, not with the forest fires.
Mm,
I mean, the forest fires, things have been pretty bad.
mm,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, that's now fortunately not a lot of people live here. But the air quality has been so terrible.
mm,
Not a lot of homes damaged, but a lot of fires. And
mm,
roads closed.
mm,
You can't drive through that. You
mm,
can't. You got to close. The police are to stop people from
yeah.
driving in
Mm,
this road. But oh, that's an old picture. But yeah, this is Oregon. It's all the way from Canada to California. It's like this. It's
mm,
pretty crazy. Okay, Yusuke, you sent me text for
y-
August 9th. Okay.
yes.
Did we correct everything?
No, until page 3.
Page 4 was not corrected.
Yes.
Where are the page numbers?
Uh,
I guess the page number is up here in the corner.
mm,
There's 4. Okay, so 4. Wait.
it's
Yellow.
is for
Okay.
one.
Yellow is hard to pronounce. Red is corrected. Okay. 3. 4. Oh, 4 had a slight correction. Yeah. 4 was corrected. 5 was, huh?
For uh, first, first sentence, first
Only.
only.
So we correct from here the significance.
Yes.
All right. Good. The significance of this case lies in its demonstration through longitudinal gait analysis of gait changes in a bilateral transfemoral amputee transitioning from non-microprocessor knee to microprocessor knee use. These findings may be useful in considering prosthetic selection and rehabilitation approaches. I can't speak out loud. I have to read it quietly. I'm sorry, Yusuke.
No
Please
problem.
be please be patient. Yusuke, I think we corrected this. This was corrected. There was only one problem with page 4 here,
Mm-hmm.
but we didn't read it. We didn't practice the pronunciation on page 4.
Yes.
And the page 5 is, yeah. So yeah, the pages have been corrected. So
Mm-hmm.
we're just working on pronunciation today. Okay, good. Just double checking there. Back to the top. I touched the clock. You go back to the top. Yep. Yellow, hard to pronounce. Where's my? Okay. Make sure it's charged because longitudinal gait analysis of transitioning to a microprocessor knee in a bilateral transfemoral amputee, a case report. Yusuke, are you okay? Can you hear me?
Okay. Longitudinal gait analysis of transitioning to a microprocessor knee in a bilateral transfemoral amputee. A case report.
Longitudinal
Longitudinal
transitioning.
transitioning.
In recent years, the use of microprocessor knees has become widespread in the United States and other developed countries.
In recent years, the use of microprocessor needs have become widespread in the United States and other developed countries.
Compared with simpler mechanical knee joints, non-microprocessor knees,
Compared with simpler mechanical knee joint, non-microprocessor needs,
microprocessor knees provide stance phase stability control that prevents knee buckling and swing phase control of the lower limb.
microprocessor needs provide stance phase stability control that prevents knee buckling and swing phase control of the lower limb.
These features have been reported to improve gait stability and reduce the risk of stumbling and falls.
These features have been reported to improve gait stability and reduce the risk of stumbling and falls.
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 As a result, the likelihood of achieving improved prosthetic gait and greater social participation has increased.
As a result, the likelihood of achieving improved prosthetic gait and greater social participation has increased.
However, few studies have longitudinally examined, through gait analysis, the process by which bilateral transfemoral amputees transition from non-MPKs to MPKs.
Longitudinally examined through gait analysis, the process by which bilateral transfemoral amputees transition from non-MPKs to MPKs.
The purpose of the study was to compare gait data obtained during non-MPK and MPK use in a single bilateral transfemoral amputee.
The purpose of this study was to compare gait data obtained during non-MPK and MPK use in a single bilateral transfemoral amputee,
and to quantitatively describe the differences between the two conditions.
and to quantitatively describe the differences between the two conditions.
Quantitatively.
Quantitatively.
Quantitatively. Quantitatively.
Quantitatively.
Better. By taking into account the patient's lifestyle and motor function, we hope to propose criteria for determining when publicly funded coverage of a costly MPK is warranted.
By taking into account the patient's lifestyle and motor function, we hope to propose criteria for determining when publicly funded coverage of a costly MPK is warranted.
Criteria for determining.
Criteria for determining.
Determining. Thereby contributing to more appropriate, cost-effective prosthetic selections from a health economics perspective.
Thereby contributing to more appropriate, cost-effective prosthetic selections from a health economic perspective.
Contributing to more appropriate.
Contributing to more appropriate.
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 Hmm. Just remember, British English is contributing and American English is contributing.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, okay. Cost-effective prosthetic selections from a health economics perspective.
Cost-effective prosthetic selections from a health economic perspective.
Health economics.
Health economics.
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 Mm. What, Yusuke, when we are finished, we'll go back over the yellow individually, okay?
Yes, okay.
Do you have a question?
No, I don't have question.
Hey, bochi bochi. Methods. The participant was a male in his 20s who had sustained bilateral transfemoral amputation as a result of a traffic accident.
Methods. The participant was a male in his 20s who had sustained bilateral transfemoral amputation as a result of a traffic accident.
His joint range of motion and muscle strength were largely normal.
His joint range of motion and mass strength are largely normal.
Muscle strength.
Muscle strength.
After approximately 10 months of inpatient rehabilitation,
After approximately 10 months of inpatient rehabilitation,
approximately 10 months,
approximately 10 months,
approximately,
approximately,
which included revision surgery of the residual limbs,
which included revision surgery of the residual limb.
he achieved independent gait with bilateral transfemoral prostheses.
He achieved independent gait with bilateral transfemoral prosthesis.
For the initially fabricated prostheses, a fine tunable hydraulic NMPK was selected for both knee joints.
For the initially fabricated prosthesis, a fine-tunable hydraulic non-MPK was selected for both knee joints.
During the period of NMPK use, training was conducted to strengthen hip extensor muscle strength and develop voluntary knee control that did not rely on electronics.
During the period of NMPK use, training was conducted to strengthen hip extensor muscle strength and develop voluntary knee control that did not rely on electronics.
Strengthen hip extensor muscle strength. One moment, please.
Yes.
Strengthen strength. That's not good. Training was conducted to improve, increase. I say increase, 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 increase. Easier to pronounce, but that's not why, because
Mm.
we have the word strength. We don't want strengthened strength.
How about improve?
Oh, yeah, but strength is a quantity, not a quality.
Mm,
So improvement is done in quality ranges
Mhm.
and increase is done in quantity ranges. Does that make sense?
Yes, I,
Yeah,
I think, yes.
yeah. So beauty is improved and strength is increased.
Mhm.
Thank you. Other questions?
No, I don't have question.
Did you receive it?
Yes, I received it.
Great, great. Yeah, increases, strengthen. That's kind of difficult. We're not doing it for pronunciation. We're doing that for grammar, but okay. Gait data was collected at 2 time points in this study.
Gate data was collected at 2 time points in this study.
The first data set was obtained immediately after discharge during NMPK use condition 1.
The first data set was obtained immediately after discharge during an MPK use, condition 1.
And the second was obtained at the end of a 6-month MPK trial, condition 2.
And the second was obtained at the end of a 6-month MPK trial, condition 2.
A measurement system that synchronized a 3-dimensional motion analysis system with force plates was used to record quiet standing and straight line walking at a comfortable gait speed.
A measurement system that synchronized a 3-dimensional motion analysis system with force plates was used to record quiet standing and straight line walking at a comfortable gait speed.
3-dimensional motion analysis.
3-dimensional motion analysis system.
Good. This study was conducted in accordance with the Declaration of Helsinki.
This study was conducted in accordance with the Declaration of Helsinki.
Declaration.
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 Declaration of Helsinki.
Declaration of Helsinki.
The purpose, methods, and data handling procedures of the study were explained to the participant who provided written, informed consent.
The purpose, methods, and data handling procedures of the study were explained to the participants who provided written informed consent.
Any questions before we continue? Okay.
No, I don't have question.
Yeah, we'll go back over the yellows.
Yes.
Results and discussion. Pelvic anterior tilt angle during quiet standing decreased from 29 degrees under condition 1 to 4 degrees under condition 2.
Result and discussion.
Results.
Results. Results and discussion. Pelvic anterior tilt angle during quiet standing decreased from 29 degrees under condition 1 to 4 degrees under condition 2.
This value of 4 degrees is close to values reported for non-amputees.
This value of 4 degrees is close to values reported for non-amputees.
Amputees.
Amputees.
Previous studies have indicated that pelvic anterior tilt angle during quiet standing in healthy adults generally falls within the range of 4 to 15 degrees.
Previous studies have indicated that pelvic anterior tilt angle during quiet standing in healthy adults generally falls within the range of 4 to 15 degrees.
Limited hip range of motion and impaired balance ability are generally associated with increased pelvic anterior tilt.
Limited hip range of motion and impaired balance ability are generally associated with increased pelvic anterior tilt.
Oh my back. I see some very elderly people, they walk with their upper body very forward leaning, like with a cane. What do the Japanese call it? They call it the senior car. No,
Senior car.
yeah, we call that a walker.
うーん。
Yeah, and their forward body tilts very forward. Yeah. Okay. The decrease in pelvic anterior tilt angle observed in this case suggests that standing alignment improved following transition to the MPK.
The decrease in pelvic anterior tilt angle observed in this case suggests that standing alignment improved following transition to the MPK.
Following transition to the MPK.
Following transition to the MPK.
Transition.
Transition.
Furthermore, this reduction in pelvic anterior tilt may reduce load on the lumbar spine and improve overall posture.
Furthermore, this reduction in pelvic anterior tilt may reduce load on the lumbar spine and improve overall posture,
which carries clinical significance from the standpoints of preventing residual limb pain and improving body image.
which carries clinical significance from the standpoints of preventing residual limb pain and improving body image.
Oh. During gait, both step length and cadence, steps per minute, increased.
During gait, both step length and cadence, steps per minute, increased.
As a result, gait speed improved by 17% under condition 2 compared with condition 1, reaching 1.32 meters per second.
As a result, gait speed improved by 17% under condition 2 compared with condition 1, reaching 1.32 meters per second.
As a result, analysis of the hip flexion extension angle waveforms showed that trial to trial variability tended to be smaller under condition 1 than condition 2.
Analysis of the hip extension analysis of the hip flexion extension angle waveforms showed that trial to trial variability tended to be smaller under condition 1 than under condition 2.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. Variability.
Variability.
Yeah, that's a tough one. A lot of big words in here. This finding suggests that gait patterns may have been constrained to a more uniform pattern during NMPK use.
This finding suggests that gait patterns may have been constrained to a more uniform pattern during NMPK use.
Whereas during MPK use, the higher responsiveness of the knee joint may have allowed for finer adjustments in gait pattern according to posture and ground conditions.
Whereas during MPK use, the higher responsiveness of the knee joint may have allowed for finer adjustments in gait patterns according to posture and ground conditions.
Allowed for finer adjustments.
Allowed for finer adjustments.
Ground conditions.
Ground conditions.
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 Yeah, ow. Remember ow. So we have OW ow allowed,
Allowed.
and OU ow ground,
Ground.
allowed ground.
Allowed. Ground.
Better. The significance of this case lies in its demonstration through longitudinal gait analysis of gait changes in a bilateral transfemoral amputee transitioning from non MPK to MPK use.
The significance of this case lies in its demonstration through longitudinal gait analysis of gait changes in a bilateral transfemoral amputee transitioning from non-MPK to MPK use.
These findings may be useful in considering prosthetic selection and rehabilitation approaches aimed at achieving practical ambulation.
These findings may be useful in considering prosthetic selection and rehabilitation approaches aimed at achieving practical ambulation.
These findings.
These findings.
Facilities in Japan that both accept bilateral transfemoral amputees for inpatient rehabilitation and possess three-dimensional motion analysis systems are limited in number.
Facilities in Japan that both accept bilateral transfemoral amputees for inpatient rehabilitation and possess three-dimensional motion analysis systems are limited in number.
Systems are limited.
Systems are limited.
Obtaining and publishing data from such settings is important for establishing high quality methodologies for amputee rehabilitation.
Obtaining and publishing data from such settings is important for establishing high-quality methodologies for amputee rehabilitation.
On the other hand, no statistical analysis was performed because this study is based on data from a single case.
On the other hand, no statistical analysis was performed because this study is based on data from a single case.
Whether the changes in gait parameters observed in this study exceed the range of measured error or diurnal variation remains unclear.
Whether the changes in gait parameters observed in this study exceeds the range of measurement error or
Diurnal.
diurnal variation remains unclear.
Changes. What are the changes? I didn't catch this last time. Sorry. Whether the changes in gait parameters observed in this study simply exceeded the range of measurement error or were a result of diurnal variation remains unclear.
Whether the changes in gate parameters observed in this study simply exceeded the range of measurement error or were a result of diurnal variation remains unclear.
Diurnal variation.
Diurnal variation.
And the results should be interpreted with caution.
And the result should be interpreted inter- interpreted with caution.
In addition, approximately 6 months elapse between condition 1 and condition 2.
In addition, approximately 6 months elapse between condition 1 and condition 2.
Approximately 6 months.
Approximately 6 months.
Approximately 6 months.
Approximately 6 months.
Approximately.
Approximately.
Approximately 6 months.
Approximately 6 months.
Approximately.
Approximately.
Approximately 6 months.
Approximately 6 months.
And the possibility cannot be ruled out that natural changes in physical function over this period were intermixed with the effects of introducing the MPK.
And the possibility cannot be ruled out that not natural changes in physical function over this period were intermixed with the effect of introducing the MPK.
Very technical. Questions here?
No, I don't have question.
Okay, pretty good. Where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Your avatar is very strange. Ooh. The findings of this study are scheduled to be presented at the scientific meeting of the Japanese Society of Prosthetics and Orthotics to be held in Chiba Prefecture in October 2026.
The findings of this study are scheduled to be presented at the scientific meeting of the Japanese Society of Prosthetics and Orthotics to be held in Chiba Prefecture in October of 2026.
Scheduled to be presented.
Scheduled to be presented.
Scheduled to be presented.
Scheduled to be presented.
Very nice. Okay. We do have time. Yeah, good. Yeah, I'm sorry I missed a couple things. I was surprised to see a page that didn't need any correction. That's very rare. Stumbling and falls. Ah. Stumbling and the and is is not very emphasized. We usually Yusuke, are you familiar with rock and roll?
No, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, so when we say something like rock,
Rock.
mm, roll,
Mm,
right? We usually say it like this: rock and roll.
rock and roll.
Yeah, the and is not emphasized. It becomes an in the middle.
Mhm.
And that's the same case here. Stumbling and falls.
Stumbling and stumbling falls.
Stumbling and falls.
Stumbling and falls.
Okay, so ah, stumbling and falls.
Stumbling and falls.
Fa
Fall,
falls.
falls.
Okay. Try to remember it A-L, it's not O, it's ah.
Yes.
Like walk, talk, fall, walk.
Rock.
No, walk, like walking the dog,
Walking the dog.
talking with father,
Talking with father.
falls,
Falls.
stumbling and falls.
Stumbling and falls.
Better, okay. Longitudinally,
Longitudinally.
la,
Ra.
la, longitudinally.
Longitudinally.
Mm. Examined,
Examined.
longitudinally examined.
Longitudinally examined.
Better. Quantitatively.
Quantitatively.
Yeah, we've got a and a. Quantitatively.
Quantitatively.
Yes, and tit the same. Quantitatively.
Quantitatively.
Better. Determining.
Determining.
Mm. Deter. Deter.
Deter.
So the first E is at.
Eh.
The second E has no sound because the R is dominating.
Mhm.
Deter,
Deter.
determining,
Determining.
meaning.
Meaning.
Yes. Determining.
Determining.
Good. Funded coverage.
Fund coverage.
Uh, uh, fu- funded coverage. Funded coverage.
Fund coverage.
That's pretty good. Appropriate.
Appropriate.
No questions on this page? Whoa. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
All right. Strength.
Strength.
Strength. Strength.
strength,
Approximately.
approximately,
Approximately 10 months.
approximately 10 months,
Revision.
uh, excuse me,
Oh, yes.
it is hard to pronounce months.
Okay. Yeah, it is not months. The TH blends in with the S.
Mm,
So it's basically just months.
months.
No, you don't need a TH. You can
Mm,
just you can just move from the N to the S.
mm, months.
Months. Yes, you don't need the TH there. It's
Mhm.
not pronounced.
Okay, I
The
see.
TH is not pronounced. Yeah, just months.
Months.
Yes. Approximately 10 months.
Approximately 10 months.
Appro, pra, pra,
Approximately.
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 Approximately 10 months.
Approximately 10 months.
Mhm. Revision.
Revision.
R, revision.
Re- revision.
So it's not re. The emphasis is on the it. So it's revision,
Re-
revision.
revision.
Good. Strengthen.
Strengthen.
Mm. Strength, strengthen,
Strengthen.
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 Good. Immediately,
Immediately.
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 Mediate, immediate. Yeah, that's fine. As long as me is emphasized immediately.
Immediately.
Okay, that's pretty good. Declaration.
Declaration.
Data handling procedures.
Data handling procedure.
Procedures.
Procedures.
Handling.
Handling.
Data handling procedures.
Data handling procedures.
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 Data handling procedures.
Data handling procedures.
Yes. Now, if I want to, I can go extreme. Okay. Data handling procedures. Handling. Data handling procedures.
Data handling procedures.
That's pretty good. I think it's the British who get really strong with their
Mhm.
sound. Americans use it a lot too, but some British can get really strong with the
Mhm.
sound. Adults, oh, angle falls. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Generally falls.
Generally false.
Generally.
Gen-
Generally.
generally.
Generally falls.
Generally false.
Mm. Rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Generally. Oh, do you know General Lee?
No.
Do you know about the Nanboku Senso?
Ah, yes, I know.
He was the general of the South. His name was
うん、
Robert E. Lee, and he was the general of the Southern Army.
うん。
General Lee.
generally,
General Lee. One,
general,
two, three. 1, 2, 3. General Lee.
generally,
1, 2, 3. General Lee.
generally,
General Lee.
generally.
Pretty good. Where,
あ、
where are we? We in
um,
line.
can
Generally
American
Falls. It's different spelling, but the pronunciation is the same. Generally Falls.
generally falls,
Generally. Generally.
generally.
Yes. Generally, I think that's okay, but you will hear most people pronounce only 3 syllables, not 4.
うん、
Generally.
generally.
Mm. Did you have another question?
No, I don't have questions.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes our pronunciation, um, for example, Japanese say karaoke, right?
Yes,
But we say karaoke
karaoke.
because for English, k is very unnatural.
うん、
But we have many examples of ki,
うん、うん、
like at the ending, right? There are many people with ki at the end of their name,
うん、
or animals like monkey,
うん、
karaoke.
うん、
And so we do what comes naturally. Maybe it's not proper,
うん、
but it's just natural for us
うん、
to say something like General Lee, because that's the name of a person, and generally falls. So this is kind of I guess it's a grouping. Imagine if a painter used the same blue for the sky and the water.
うん、
Like maybe your child is coloring and they use the blue. They don't have a lot of colors, so they use the blue for the sky, the same color as the blue for the river. That's kind of what we do when we speak.
うん、
We have a limited range of pronunciation, and we reuse many terms again to keep things simpler.
うん。
Yeah, it's a human condition. And English has a lot more variety than Japanese does, but it's not unlimited. We still limit ourselves in many ways. Okay, doing good. Variability.
variability.
Mm. Oh, oh. Did you read this one yet? I see no more problems.
It's it
I'm sorry.
I checked the until one paragraph. So
Oh, okay. You didn't read the last part yet.
yeah.
Okay, but many of the same words are used.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's really good practice, Yusuke. Do you have any other questions?
No, I don't have questions.
Okay, yeah, but also we just have to be careful because I did send you some corrections.
Okay,
Approximately, be careful of the accent.
approximately.
Yeah. And yes, we're going to increase the strength. That's pretty interesting that qualitatively we improve and quantitatively we increase. Great. Whew. Good work, Yusuke.
Thank you very much.
Did you see my shirt?
Yes.
Yeah. OSU, Oregon State University. We're the Beavers.
Mm,
That's our mascot. We have a mascot.
mm, mm, mm.
Yeah, Japanese universities don't have a mascot. It's so
Yes.
sad.
Mm,
They should use like Pokemon or anime
mm,
something
yeah.
because every university has a mascot. Every team.
Uh,
Yeah, football, basketball, baseball.
mm,
The Beavers. We're the Beavers. Our rivals are the Ducks.
mm,
Yeah. It's a very rainy part of the country. And so ducks and beavers are very lots of ducks and beavers in this part of the country. The beavers live in the rivers with the ducks, and the rivers, lots of rain and lots of rivers in this part of the world. But not this time of year. It's very dry. Lots of forest fires and a lot of fire engines. It's so dry.
mm,
If you park your car on the grass is all yellow, it'll start a fire. So sometimes, people drive off the road and they start a fire with their car, just the heat
mm,
from the car. Yeah, it's so dry. And they don't allow barbecues this time of year. They don't allow fireworks
mm.
this time of year because it's so dangerous. Yeah. But the rain will come. It will come, and I will go back to Japan because I don't want to be here in the rainy season. It's too depressing. Yusuke, thank you. Do you have any no other questions? Our next meeting is next week,
No, it's August 24th.
the 24th at the regular time. Yusuke, thank you very much for joining me at the special time in the
Yeah.
special place. I'll see you next time. Any questions, please send me a message.
Okay. Thank you very
And
much.
I want to thank you again for always sending the recordings.
Mm.
Sometimes Sumiko's computer is broken and the recordings don't come, but yours always work very well. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thank you very
Take
much.
care.